evening and welcome to this week's edition of Inside Red Dragon Sports. I'm your host, Geoff Hassard, Assistant Director of Athletics and Sports Information Director here. And as we continue through the spring season, tonight we've invited into studio the baseball program with head coach Ben Grimm and a couple of his senior players. So please join me after the break where I'll be joined by tonight's first guest, head baseball coach Ben Grimm.
You sure you don't want some? It's chamomile. Listen, you are extremely terrifying. Just the scariest undead subhuman thing on TV, and I really mean that. But I am worried that you could give my kids nightmares if they see you, so I'm gonna have to block you. So that's it. Oh, and tell the zombies they're blocked too.
Welcome back to the show. Joining me now in studio is head baseball coach Ben Grimm. Welcome back to the show, Ben.
Yeah, glad to be here.
How are things going so far?
Good. Things are going well. We're 3 weeks into our preseason right now, and just getting the guys ready to open up here in a couple weeks. We head down to Virginia in 2 weeks during the February break, and just excited to get the season started.
Yeah. Now it seems like baseball kind of creeps sometimes. You're like all of a sudden you're still in the middle of winter, and you're already looking at baseball and lacrosse and some of the other spring teams that we have. Is it to your advantage to open up this early?
I think so, because what it allows us to do is it allows us to get out on the field a little bit earlier in the season, so we can match up against some, tough competition. We're going to go down to Virginia and play, a couple teams that are, one that's ranked nationally and another real tough program, and Christopher Newport and Lynchburg College. And, what it allows us to do is really go down there and test ourselves early and try to establish ourselves on a national level. And I think by doing that, it gives us a little bit of time to come back home and see what we need to work on,
Right.
Getting out of the gym and things like that. And plus, it allows us to kind of catch those teams early in the year before they've got 20 games under their belt, too.
Right. As you, like you said, early season, how do you like to work, guys in and out? I mean, certainly pitching is always the toughest part because you don't want to burn guys out too early, but you also want them to get a good look and get some, build their strength. So how do you use those early season games?
Sure. I think the biggest adjustment's more with our starting pitchers because we do limit them a little bit as far as their pitch counts early in the year and try and kind of build them week to week,
Right.
till they get to that 100, 110 pitch count, so they're ready to go come conference play. So, our starters will go down there around 70 pitches and whatnot. And I think the other nice thing it does is this year we're really making an effort, especially with our bullpen guys, to really kind of limit their innings but increase their appearances. So the goal for those bullpen guys is not necessarily 50 innings but more along the lines of 20 appearances. Okay. And what we think that's going to do hopefully down the road is really build that depth. So deep in the year we're not just relying on one or two guys out of the pen. We've got 4 or 5 guys that can come in at any time and get those big outs and late inning games for us. And right. That allows them to get their feet wet early in the year as well, while the starters are kind of building their pitch counts as well.
Now, how does the, as far as the positional players, of course, you're going to have a lot of new faces this year. You're in year number 3,
sure.
With the program. Why don't you talk a little bit about how the transition has been for the first couple of years, and then we can talk about how this year's squad will be made up.
Sure. This year, from an offensive and position player standpoint, we really only returned 2 starting players, and they're both going to be in new positions. It's senior Chris Orlando is going to slide from third base over to shortstop, and then junior Matt Mastriani is going to come in from left field and second base, and they're going to kind of anchor the middle for us. And really expecting those 2 to kind of be key guys for us. Maddie's going to start the season at the top of the lineup, and Chris is going to be looked to be our 3-hitter. And I think when you have strength up the middle, the rest of the team feeds off. It takes a lot of pressure off those guys on the corners. And we do have a couple of returning guys that we're looking to kind of step into a little bit more of a bigger role, as far as Dylan Stamil at first base and Steve Provenzano is a senior who, coming off wrestling season, we got to make sure he's ready to hit a fastball, but
right.
behind the plate take a more significant role. But we add a lot of new faces. We'll have a brand new outfield. We'll have 4 or 5 guys competing for time out there that are all brand new to the program. Third base is going to be a new guy for us, and at the DH spot as well. So it was it was a big push for us through the recruiting process last year to find guys that kind of fit the molds that we're looking for, as far as guys that are very athletic and can kind of hit at the top, the bottom of the lineup, or guys who are more middle of the order guys that can really drive the ball to the gaps, maybe pop one out of the yard once in a while.
Right. So So during the 3 years, this process, I mean, certainly the first year, you just came in late. You really was whatever team you had was on the field.
Sure.
But it seems like you've been able to, like you said, through the recruiting process now, maybe roll it over a little bit, where maybe now you're getting some of the players or athletes that you think can impact you in different spots. I mean, talk a little bit about the recruiting and how you maybe go about, looking at where you might fit guys in.
Sure. This recruiting class that's here right now, essentially is our first true recruiting class in the sense that we had a full 12 months to put it together. And, coming in mid-year a couple years ago, it was one of those things where, we were just trying to find the best players available at the time. Where this year we've, we feel like we've added quality depth across the board, especially positionally. We've got some, what I feel are some pretty special athletes, especially, with some of our new guys that we brought in. We brought in a couple junior college transfers, one Mike Cruz that played in the World Series last year with Nassau Community College, and Nate Eastman who comes to us from Finger Lakes Community College, who was Player of the Year in his conference last year. So I think anytime you add guys like that have kind of been there, done that at the college level, that have had that kind of success, you're always excited. And, those are guys that we're anticipating to hit 4 or 5 in the lineup for us. And we've got a couple, real strong freshmen in the outfield as well, as far as Casey Kyes and David Wright, 2 real athletic kids that, down the road, David kind of potentially as our 2-hitter this year, and Casey is a top-bottom guy who can really move. And, we feel real strongly, that those guys are going to be a good foundation for the future. And, I think they're also guys that, from an ability standpoint, they have all the talent in the world, and it should translate this year. And it's just a matter of those guys settling in and getting comfortable, at this level.
Right. Now, we have a couple of local players from Oneonta, which is always a good thing to see, especially for the fans who want to come out and watch us play all season long. Why don't you talk a little bit about the local kids just a little bit?
Sure. We've right now we've got 2 Oneonta boys on the roster, David Wright and Nate Eastman. And that's kind of been a little bit of a push, obviously winning a state title a couple years ago. There's a lot of good players coming off those teams, and Coach Hughes does a great job with his program down the hill. And if we can keep the good players local, we certainly want to do that. And it's been kind of a push. We're always going to have those guys from downstate Long Island because it's just a good recruiting base for us. But if we can keep those local guys around too, I think it's just going to help grow the program. And we've got a couple guys from Vestal down the road in Binghamton. We've got a freshman from Schoharie. So trying to find a few keep that local talent local. Yeah,
which is because there are quite a few very good players and good high school teams just within an hour here.
Oh, absolutely.
Go to Albany and even Utica, some great players. Pitching staff. Of course, you were a pitcher yourself in college, so that kind of maybe your bread and butter a little bit. Why don't you talk about how this pitching staff will come together this year and hopes, how it'll go forward?
Sure. We our pitching staff it's kind of where we're at right now. We've got a lot of veteran guys, and guys that I think that as they've gotten older and they've matured and they've kind of grown comfortable pitching at the college level could have some pretty special years for us. As far as the starters go, we return Steve Asher and Alex Mastriani as juniors. They're guys that have been in the rotation since their freshman year. They're guys that they've gone out and they've pitched in quality college leagues in the summertime, and they're guys we really expect to have kind of big years for us and really be workhorses to where we give them the ball and once they're at their 100, 110 pitches, the expectation is those guys can give us 7, 8, 9 good innings and really hold the team down and let the offense just do what they got to do. And Steve, he's kind of the guy that we're anticipating being the number 1 for us, and he's gonna get the tough matchups against the Johns Hopkins and the Christopher Newports and the Keens of the world, and we expect him to go out and hold those teams down because we know when we play those teams we're going to face good pitching, and it's going to be a good team, so we may have to scrape out 4 or 5 runs to win that game, but if he can go out and hold them to 1 or 2, we feel very confident that we're going to win those games. And same thing with Alex as well. I think anytime you return your 1 and 2, it's a pretty special thing for you. And as far as our bullpen right now, we return Sean McMurray as a senior, who we're expecting to have him step into a larger role for us in the bullpen, and junior Kyle Jordan, and along with sophomores John Sika and Noah Raspler. Those 4 guys we're really kind of dependent on to be those 20 appearance guys for us, where they go out and we give them the ball, and the expectation is if they're ready to go, they're ready to go, and we're going to give them the baseball late in games and have those guys kind of get those big late outs for us.
So do you try to everybody always, because closers are so huge now, everybody's like, yeah, I gotta get a closer, get a closer. How important it is to have a guy on your staff that you just know can have the ball and you put it in his hand and he's going to get you your 3 outs or 6 outs, and if it's 2 innings.
Sure, and I think that's invaluable, and I think the one thing with that role, and especially with those guys, you call them setup men, 7th, 8th inning guys, is they need to be able to settle into a role, and when they know that I've got the 9th inning, or I've got the 8th inning, or I'm the first guy out of the pen. It makes that a little bit easier for them as far as from a preparation standpoint and things along those lines. And I think anytime a player really understands his role and accepts his role, that's when they can really thrive in that position.
Right. So this year, SUNYAC certainly is always a pretty competitive conference. I mean, right at the top. Last year we were right there till the last games to get into the tournament, which would have been probably a feather in our cap as far as making the season look a little more successful in some cases. But how do you see the SUNYAC this year, and what are the hopes for us when it comes down to the tournament?
Sure. I think when you look at the conference as a collective whole, obviously Cortland's been at the top for a while, and until someone knocks them off, you kind of give them the credit that they're due. But to be completely honest with you, with the horses we've got going on the weekend and the guys that we've got lineup-wise, there's not a doubt in my mind that when it comes down to May, that it's going to come down to how well we execute. And because there's not a doubt in my mind and in the guys' minds this year that we're going to play into May, and it's a matter of how well we execute on a given weekend and over the course of a given 3 or 4 days is going to determine how well we go. Because I really believe that talent-wise, player for player, we match up with anybody in the country. But like I said, it's all about how well we execute, and what we've really been kind of talking to the guys a little bit at the start of the season here is just overcoming adversity. That the good teams are going to face adversity, and if you want to be a good team, you've got to overcome that adversity. And just as an example, yesterday we got that big snowstorm, and we weren't really sure what was going on with practice, but our guys focused up, and we had a good practice that day. And and that's really what it's going to come down for us, because I think if we can overcome that adversity and we stick together as a group and we execute, well, then the guy's talent's just going to take over, and the amount of ability we've got, I feel real confident no matter who we're matched up against.
Now in the SUNYAC we play 3-game series, so like you said, I mean, you really, as you go into each weekend, really the 3 starting pitchers and a strong bullpen certainly can carry you a long way in the SUNYAC. Do you like the 3-game series?
Yeah, I do. I think when you look at baseball, and at least at the major league level and at the the major college level, it's that 3-game set, and it's kind of the way it's gone. And I think what it allows you to do is you kind of have a definite winner and loser at the end of the weekend as far as who won a series. And what we talk about with the guys a lot is just win the weekend. If we go out and we win every weekend, well, then we're going to be right where we want to be at the end of the year, and that the goal doesn't change when we get into the playoffs. If we win the weekend, we're just going to continue to advance.
Right. So last year, you just missed the SUNYAC tournament, so I would say that's probably got to be your first #1 goal to get into the SUNYAC tournament.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely where it starts. It definitely starts with getting into the SUNYAC tournament, but we don't want to limit our guys as far as what their goals really are. We this year our motto, or fight call, whatever you want to call it, has really just been dogpile, because that's our goal at the end of the season. You think about that's what we want. That's where we want to be. We want to be playing on championship Sundays, and we'll be at the SUNYAC tournament, the NCAA tournament. If we catch a few breaks, get out to Wisconsin and all that good stuff. But that's really where we want to be. We don't just want to be there. We want to be competing for that championship, and we want to be in a position to where when that last out's made or that last base hit is hit, that the guys are jumping around like idiots on each other on the mound or home plate, and as a coach, you enjoy those moments and sit back and watch them.
Right. Well, we certainly wish you the best of luck this season as it gets started pretty quickly here, and as you go into May. The season, even though it looks like it's condensed, it's still a pretty long season. You play a lot of games in a lot of days, in such a short time. But so good luck and stay healthy this year.
All right, we'll try.
All right, thanks for coming by.
Thanks, Geoff.
I'd like to thank Coach Ben Grimm for coming by tonight. And after the break, I'll be joined by senior Sean McMurray.
Get your ass suit. You're not sitting here.
Yes, I am.
Move. Give it to him hard.
No.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Why you stabbing me with it? No.
They want to help,
Ow.
but don't know how.
Oh, you got...
Teach your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
Welcome back to the show. Joining me now is senior baseball player Sean McMurray. Welcome to the show, Sean.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a senior right now. I'm a comm studies major. I'm from Long Island, Medford, Long Island. Hoping to hold down the bullpen this year a little bit, and excited for the season.
Well, it sounds like it. We were talking to Coach Grimm. He's in year 3, kind of rolling over the roster a little bit, and you were part of someone, guys that transferred in for us, and have certainly, going to make an impact for us. What's it like for you to kind of know where your role is on the team? How important is that?
It's definitely important to know where you are as far as your role in the team. I mean, going into the season unsure is definitely not a good feeling. It was a little bit last year. I came into the season, arm pain, doesn't really know where I was going to fit in. I missed the first 2 series and kind of just ended up fitting in certain places. This year I know where I am, arm feels good, so it's definitely a more relaxing feeling for sure.
Right. Now, senior group, we're going to have Chris on as well. What kind of a leadership role do you see yourself having with this team this year?
Myself, Steve, and Chris, we don't have name captains, but we kind of took it upon ourselves to set an example and do the right thing as far as, making sure we're first guys in the gym, last guys leaving the gym, stuff like that, making sure guys are doing the right thing when coaches, has his back turned, stuff like that, and just trying to set a good example overall.
Right. Important on the field. Do you look at yourself as a vocal kind of leader, or?
Yes, I'm actually pretty loud in the dugout there. A lot of teams don't like playing when I'm talking because just no one likes to be annoyed, basically.
Right.
I just like to be, let the other team know that we're there and we're gonna let our guy in the box know. A term I like to use is, get in the box with the guy. If you got one guy in a box, it's not intimidating. But if you have 10 guys yelling, talking to the pitcher, telling him, we're here for this guy, it's a little more intimidating, a little more helpful to that batter to know he's got 10 guys in his corner.
Right. Now, from last year to this year, what do you think is different about how you guys prepared for this year? And you're already into preseason workouts, and the season's going to open up quick. But what kind of differences were there this year?
Definitely a tough part is just rolling out of bed at 5 in the morning and getting into the gym. But once you're there, it's time to work. It's a different atmosphere than I've been around for the last 4 years. Guys, freshmen, I've never seen so many freshmen come in and step up and do the right thing,
Right.
making sure they're ready to go. It's just a totally different atmosphere, and it's exciting, that's for sure.
Now, during the off season, when you guys, after your season was over last year, of course, coming in the fall, you guys get a non-traditional season. How important is it to play in the fall, to get that practice in?
It's definitely good, get to know your guys, get to see, if you're a center fielder, get to know how far your right fielder is going to come into your zone. If Steve goes 6 innings, he knows he can give me the ball, give Kyle the ball, give Seeker the ball, and then we'll be all right from there on.
Right.
And getting that competition in the fall is different. Last year we played against each other, it's an element of competition, but we knew what we were playing against for the whole time.
Right.
Got to see Columbia Green this year, which was different. Good team, ended up winning both games, but it was definitely a good experience to get out and play somebody else. Have our families watch us in the fall too, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, just for team chemistry, building that team culture, getting all the guys together and kind of setting the standard of what you guys expect as, seniors on the team, I can imagine would be important for you guys in the fall.
Absolutely.
Now, you guys do a lot of conditioning, a lot of, pitching. I mean, what kind of things do you guys do during the off season to get ready?
In the off season, we do a lot of power lifts type things. There's not many bicep curls going on, stuff like that. A lot of running, making sure. I know this year we had to run a 630 miles a team, which was, for not being a track team, that's pretty good. We all got it. Just a lot of hard work, getting in a group of 5 and getting in the gym, working hard.
Yeah. And you, Chris, you guys organize a lot of that stuff for Coach, that he, feels like he can rely on you guys to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. We had some off-season, just open sessions where we could just have hit ground balls, throw, field, take some batting practice on the field after the non-traditional ended in the fall. Right. And it ended up working out well. Everyone looks good this year. So.
Yeah. What are your expectations for yourself and the team this year?
I just want to be a solid piece out of the bullpen. 7th, 8th, 9th inning doesn't really matter to me. I just want to have a lot of appearances, a lot of good outings. No walks.
Yeah.
And just be able to set the tone as far as the bullpen goes.
And team-wise, what do you?
I think we could easily get to a regional. It'd be nice to end the season in Wisconsin, And it's just, I think we're one of the better teams in the conference. We have one of the best 1-2 punches in the conference as far as Steve and Alex go.
Right.
And that wins the weekend for us right there, gets us into the tournament, and then it's a new season from there on.
Right. Well, we certainly want to wish you all the best of luck this year, and certainly we hope you have a great senior season.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll be still playing in May.
We will be.
Well, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank Sean McMurray for coming by tonight. And after the break, I'll be joined by senior Chris Orlando.
Know what?
What?
Since I got adopted, I've learned a lot about these humans.
I know. I mean, check out these two. It's Flirt City over here.
Yeah, I noticed that. It looks like my human is definitely into your human.
Oh, look! I think she's getting his number.
Nice.
Your human's got some sweet moves.
Takes after his dog. Oh, look, they're doing that thing where they put their arms around each other.
She kicked up a leg. It's like in the movies.
That's awesome. Looks like we're going to be hanging out a little bit more.
Welcome back to the show. Joining me now is senior baseball player Chris Orlando. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Thanks for having me, Mr. Hassard.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a senior, criminal justice major. Come from Putnam Valley, which is in Putnam County, New York. It's south of here, like 2 hours. And yeah, hoping to contribute to the team this year. And
Right.
Yeah.
You've been with us a couple of years now. We asked Sean the same kind of question about, what kind of changes and differences do you see from last year to this year, just in how the team is getting ready?
This year, the guys, I've never seen such a young group of guys just want to work so much, and I think it's real important that they have that drive and motivation to come out, and not just the young guys, the older guys too, but just the atmosphere is just great.
More competitive guys
Yes.
fighting for positions.
Yes, definitely. Yep.
How important is that for you as an upperclassman to have somebody pushing you?
Definitely important. Kind of reminds you that you're not the only one out there trying to win a spot over. So definitely get some fire underneath me to try to push me to work a lot harder. And yeah.
Yeah, off the field and on the field.
Yep. Yep.
So let me see. You're going to be moving positions from third base to shortstop. Is that a big transition for you?
Yeah, I would say so. I played shortstop in high school, so I'm kind of not a total stranger to the position, but I think third base is just such a reaction spot. It's just such a hot corner. But yeah, shortstop, it definitely takes some work to get used to, but been working hard at it. And
so you're saying the shortstop, you have a little more time to get to a ball, maybe?
Yeah, a little more time to think. Yeah. So definitely a little bit more challenge.
Right. But so between you and Matt at second base this year, it'll be kind of a new middle infield for us this year. I mean, how do you think the two of you have been working together so far?
I think we've been working great. I mean, we're both, good friends. We kind of have a great relationship with each other. So, I think it's going to work out well.
Are there now during the fall? Spring sports have the benefit of a season kind of in the fall where they get to practice and play some outside competition. So during that time, is that the time really to get with your second baseman and try to work on hand signals or how you guys are going to work certain plays and stuff?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, kind of work things out in the fall. And good thing about having that fall season is it kind of exposes, I guess you could say, some of your weaknesses or some of the things you need to work on for the spring. So I think it's very important to have that that fall to play.
Academically, what's your major?
Criminal justice.
Criminal justice. Okay. What are you hoping to be able to do with that?
Probably a cop. So I'm not really sure where. I've taken a few tests, but cop maybe. Always been a dream to go to the FBI, but we'll see about that one.
We've had some, there were some alums from SUNY Oneonta from back in the 70s and 80s that worked for the FBI.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they made careers out of it, so it's not on the realm.
Definitely interesting, but I don't know, we'll see.
What do you find most interesting about the whole criminal justice? Is it all the stuff you see on television, or?
I'm not really sure. I guess it's just, the thrill of just, doing something. I can't, for me, I can't really see myself working behind, a desk all day. I need to be doing something. So, yeah, I think it would be a good fit for me.
Yeah.
So-
Now, what are some of? Are there one or two things about your experience here at SUNY Oneonta that have stood out for you? Either on campus, with the team, the athletic department, anything like that?
I would have to say the relationships I've built with, not only my teammates, but, even the student body. I think, everyone's just great up here. I mean, I love it. So, I mean, that's probably what would stand out as the relationships that I've built.
Okay. And what reason why you chose Oneonta?
I'm not really sure, right? At the time, the baseball team, is really one of the biggest reasons. It was, in the SUNYX, which is a competitive conference, and and Oneonta's, they're a great team.
Right.
So I wanted to have that, and then I wanted to go to a school that was, academically a good school. Right. So I think that was really, deciding factor in coming here.
Right. Well, we certainly are glad that you chose Oneonta, and we look forward to watching you play a new position this year, and watching the whole team perform, because we really think we have some really special players this year. So we hope that you guys can just put it all together and
absolutely
and have a great season.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Well,
appreciate it.
I'd like to thank all the members of the baseball program for coming by tonight, and certainly you can follow them all season long on www.oneontaathletics.com. And we'd like to thank you for joining us this week, and we'll see you next time on Inside Red Dragon Sports.